I'm your host, Pete Hegseth. And tonight, we start with one very important question. Where did the 15,000 illegal residents of Bidenville go? Because it's become painfully obvious that the White House has no answers for us as they rush to clear out the third world camp they created in Del Rio, Texas. Here's how Circleback Psaki broke down the numbers today.
1,401 Haitian nationals have been returned to Haiti. 3,206 Haitian nationals have been moved from the Del Rio camp to CBP custody or to other sectors of the United States border to either be expelled via Title 42 if possible or placed into removal proceedings. Therefore, there remain less than 5,000 migrants in the Del Rio sector.
Sounds very official. Now, I'm no mathematician, but those numbers don't add up at all. 15,000 were there, minus 1,400 returned to Haiti, minus 3,200 in so-called removal proceedings. We'll get to that. And 5,000 still in Bidenville. That leaves roughly 5,400 unaccounted for illegals. That's not a rounding error. Where are those 5,400 illegals who used to be in government custody? Or even if it's 4,000 or 3,000? Fox News correspondent Peter Ducey tried to find out earlier today.
There are 15,000 migrants under the Del Rio Bridge Saturday. If you add up the ones that you say were expelled or released, it's less than 5,000. Say there's 5,000 that are still left. Where's everybody else? When you talk about how some of these people are being placed in removal proceedings, that does not mean removed, correct?
That means they're in the process of going through a removal proceeding so that we can, it can go through the process, our immigration process that's long been in place.
Well done, Peter. Well, that wasn't much of an answer, was it there, Jen? As it appears, no one in removal proceedings is actually being removed.
If individuals cannot be expelled under Title 42, they are placed in removal proceedings, as you referred to. That may require them being placed in ICE detainment facilities, or it may require being given a notice to appear.
So Psaki couldn't even be honest about that because the administration is not actually issuing the more enforceable notice to appear. Instead, Border Patrol is telling Fox News that illegals are, quote, mostly being released with the notices to report at an ICE office rather than notices to appear. There's a difference. The preference for NTRs report, which take just 20 minutes, rather than NTAs, which take more than an hour to process. So it's all a word game, as Bill Malusian also points out, saying NTR is a request to check in with immigration within 60 days. NTA gives an exact date they must report. So there it is. It's a request to check in. That's what the White House considers removal proceedings. So when Jen Psaki says removal proceedings, she actually means released. Removal proceedings equal released. It's all a word salad. Now, to be clear, that means the vast majority of the illegal residents of Bidenville will soon be illegal residents of the United States. That's what it's come to. Kindly asking illegal immigrants to turn themselves into an ICE office on their own time frame. Pretty please. And we know from past experience that the vast majority will never do this. And the administration knows this. They want more illegals. And it's not just in Del Rio. Biden's looking to spread the crisis all along the border, as DHS is now sending Bidenville residents to El Paso, Laredo, the Rio Grande Valley, and even flying some to Tucson, Arizona for processing. Well, I should say removal proceedings, which I really mean released, with a plane ticket to the destination of their choice, maybe your hometown. So while Biden and his open border handlers are making it impossible for Border Patrol to actually, control the border, Maxine Waters is comparing a secure border to, get this, slavery.
What we witnessed was worse than what we witnessed in slavery. Cowboys with their reins again, whipping black people. Tell the story about what is going on and let people know that they're trying to take us back to slavery days.
Back to slavery days. Now, I want to mock it, but it's actually really offensive to every descendant of a black slave who was actually whipped by a slave master. Of course, the Democrats turn to racism. It's their go-to move. But don't worry, fellow Americans. Al Sharpton went to Del Rio, Texas today, so he could get to the bottom of it. Just don't tell the actual people who live there.
We're going to stand with our people
hatred.
to make sure that asylum is treated in one way. And
He was shouted down for the sham artist huckster that he is. He tried to talk and couldn't. Al Sharpton might try to fan the flames of controversy by going to the border, but at least he actually went, which is more than we can say about Joe Biden. Yesterday, the White House had no answer on whether Biden has ever visited the border, not just as president, but ever. And they're still silent on the topic. But we at Fox News have not stopped digging. And while finding zero evidence that our near octogenarian president has visited the border in his entire life, Biden did head to Guatemala when he was vice president to address, get this, the root causes of immigration. Boy, does that sound familiar. Guess he never found the answer to that one because it's never been a real solution. Joe Biden had no problem calling the border a crisis back in 2014, but now that it's his mess, of course, he's nowhere to be found.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.